Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of PropTech Showcase Disrupt. In this segment, we pick exciting new products that are disrupting the real estate industry globally. We discuss value proposition with the founder, and if possible, we do a deep dive demo onto their product. Today, we have one such product, Camphor. Camphor, which is developing the data backbone for residential real estate. They have built a proprietary data lake that consolidates residential listings with zoning laws, appraisals, transportation scores, safety scores, and so much more. They allow homeowners and real estate agents to query their listings using AI powered property search tool to expedite their process for information discovery. As you can imagine, that was quite a mouthful for me. But I'm joined by their founder, Roshan Srinivasan, who is going to tell us everything about Camphor. So let's welcome Roshan. Roshan, welcome to PropTech Showcase Disrupt. How are you doing today?
Great, Ravi. Thanks for having me here. Really excited to be here and love to just dive a little bit deeper into what we're building.
Excellent. See, Camphor is onto something big here. I think you are quite disruptive on the face of it. But here we are talking to you to understand what is the problem Camphor is solving in the industry and what is its reason for existence.
Yeah, so let me kind of I guess, backtrack a little bit on my background because that's kind of what was sort of the inspiration for Camphor. So, I did a couple real estate investments myself. And when I was going through the process of doing that, I was working with a buyer's agent, I was working with a broker. One thing that I realized was that in this space, if you are an investor or you are a home buyer, there's a lot of data which is highly segmented into different data sources here in the US. There's a lot of governmental data which is not very easy for the average person to access. There's the listings data which is controlled by the local MLS or Association of Realtors. And then you also have a lot of zoning law information and other records which are stored at the county level. Some counties haven't even digitized this information. And so there's a lot of information over here, which is actually very hard to gather if you're trying to make a well-informed decision, or you're trying to see how you can improve your existing AVMs or your current value appreciation models, or even really just look at expected rent. So simple things like that are things that we are trying to solve for. And that's why we're trying to build a single source of truth data lake for all of this information. So that was really the first sort of step in the process of what we're building out. And so we started off with the data lake. And what we realized was that we needed to create an easy way for people to access this information. And so that's why we built out the AI property search tool. What we realized in this space when we got into it was that if you look in the last 20 years or so, Ravi, there hasn't really been a modern solution to how people have thought about property search. If you look at the way that really the pioneers in this space developed property search, they did this back in 2004. That was Zillow and Redfin. They basically came back and said, okay, you know what? Back then, let's allow people to search by a few different parameters, maybe region, county, maybe looking at number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, the square footage of your property. We might give you some additional filters. So if you want to filter for properties with an air conditioning unit, you'd be able to do that. Maybe a pool, backyard, whatever it might look like. But in total, they probably provide you with about, at most 50 different parameters that you can filter by. But what we realized is now with the advances in AI, which OpenAI has helped pioneer this past year, you can now actually start doing more complex queries for properties. And this is very important and powerful if you're a home buyer or you're an investor, because now you can actually search for the intrinsic personal characteristics of a property that matter to you. So every home buyer has very different things that they care about. And so that is what we are enabling them to now go search for. Same thing with investors. So if you're an investor, you probably care about looking at things like cap rate, cash over cash return, value appreciation of a property year over year. And so those are the types of things that we are building as filters within the Camphor search engine. So that's kind of how we thought about the problem space, is more that this is a technology which has existed, but didn't really fully solve the problem for home buyers and investors today. And so we wanted to go solve that problem. And obviously, as part of that ecosystem, you want to make sure that agents are a part of it, which is why we're building out solutions for the brokerage as well.
Nice. Do you want to show how does it work with the help of a demo or something?
Awesome. Happy to just run you through sort of a quick demo of some queries that you'd be able to see on Camphor. I'm just going to start with a very simple query, which you would normally be able to find in a Zillow listing. So I'm just like pulling something which is like very, very simple. It's intrinsically something that you would normally be able to search for on like a Zillow, Redfin, Homes.com, something like that. So in this particular case, I just queried for properties in San Francisco for less than 2 million, built after 1980 with more than 3 bedrooms. So this is just an example query that you would normally be able to find. So obviously in this particular case, what's really nice about this is, one of the features that we added recently since our launch on PropTech Buzz was actually, more visualizations. I think this is something that a lot of people commented on. So we just recently added in maps. So we offer both satellite imagery and normal maps functionality. And we also built in some UI filters as well that you would be able to play with. So this is also very interesting because I'm going to show you a couple additional filters later down the line. But some of these filters are things that you actually do not normally have in, say, like a Zillow or a Redfin. But obviously, you'd be able to search for specific listings here. If I were to pull up a report over here, I'd be able to see more information about a property. And all of this information, including census information about the property, location scores, hazards. We're going to be adding in zoning data. So one thing that is very unique about how we have been building out Camphor so far is we're actually building in public. So when even from the time that this video goes live, there very likely will be new features on the platform. So that's a really exciting thing about how we're building. But one other thing that we have also added in using LLMs as well is the ability to actually just query more information about a property. So if I were to just say, tell me more about this neighborhood in San Francisco, I would be able to actually ask this question and then get a response based on the listing information and all the information that's generated in this report. So that's something that is very intrinsic to us. And we also pull in a lot of alternative data as well. We do look at Google Maps. We do look at like other places to start pulling in additional data about the neighborhood, restaurants, transportation, all of this information as well. So as you can see here, this is a natural language version of the actual report generated. And this is also very important because if you're a home buyer today, like how many home buyers do you know that actually read the full report that like you typically see in a Zillow or a Redfin? Nobody really reads that. So now you can actually just query for the information that you're looking for, and you'd actually be able to search the report. So that's actually what makes what we're doing here very unique. Now I'm going to show you guys a couple other queries that are intrinsic to how our search differs from how search has normally been for the last 20 years. So now let me ask the question, I want to search for property. So, I used to live in Berkeley. So I want to search for properties in Berkeley, California that are under $3 million and are in a highly walkable neighborhood. And outside of any wildfire danger zone. And this is a very unique question that you can ask because in Northern California, we have a lot of wildfires. And especially in this area that I'm searching for, this is actually a very common problem in that specific area when you're looking for properties. So this particular query is actually something that you would not be able to search for on a normal search engine because you don't actually have the ability to query for walkability directly. And you're also not able to query for information about any safety or hazard information. So in this particular case and example, the way that we filtered for search, this is obviously searching for properties that are outside of any wildfire danger zone. So if you look in this map over here, the entirety of North Berkeley is actually right next to a park, and this area actually does, have a very it has a very significant risk for wildfire dangers
Right.
to a lot of the properties in this area. And so that it was actually able to filter out those properties. And if I were to actually click on any one of these properties over here, what's really nice is because, obviously I had mentioned walkability as being a key factor. So all of
Nice.
the properties shown over here actually have very high walk scores. So that's a
Nice.
very nice intrinsic characteristic. And then again, for wildfires, again, because we specified under hazards that we wanted to be outside of any danger zone, it basically filtered out any properties that posed a risk when it comes to wildfire hazards. Yeah, intrinsically, you'd be able to change the filters for walk score, like wildfire risks. And so what makes our site very unique is actually your ability to actually change your tolerance as a home buyer, because again, based on the query that you ran, you might actually have a separate intrinsic tolerance to some of these characteristics. And so we give you the ability to filter that. Now, the last query that I want to run very quickly, and I'm going to do this, is basically on the actual MLS description. So what makes, again, our search also unique here is now let's say that I want to see properties in San Mateo County. That are actually waterfront properties. So let me actually make a modification. So I want to see waterfront properties in San Mateo. I can now search for that. And what makes this unique is what we're actually doing here is applying semantic search to MLS descriptions. So as you can see over here, all these properties have either some mention of, like, say, a water view or waterfront. If I were to click on one of these properties over here, it typically is a property that has like some mention of being near like a waterfront, or it's actually parsing information specifically about ravine flooding or landslides, or information about this to highlight like this is a property that is near like a water stream or waterfront area. So this is really useful if you're specifically looking for properties near like a specific geographic feature. So in this case, like if you wanted to be, right along the bay, you would be able to obviously search for properties like that and click on it over here as well. So, and really, like, again, this is just a feature for more product discovery. So one of the things that I mentioned that we are adding, since again, we are building in public, is we are adding zoning laws to our site in this next week. And so if you want to be able to parse properties based on zoning laws, you would be able to do that as well. So that is what makes this very powerful. And again, no other property engine, as far as we're aware, actually gives you the ability to do this.
Excellent. I was about to ask you what is your differentiation from other players, but thanks for sharing that.
In terms of how this product works as well, last thing that I will say is that we are currently live in the Bay Area and New York City. We are looking to expand to other geographies. And, one thing I will also say is that for, any brokerages out there that are interested in using a premium version of this tool, we do offer SaaS solutions for brokerages out there. We are working with a couple already here in the Bay Area. And so if there's any other brokerages that are looking to add existing tooling like this, we do also build out custom email tooling as well for client-facing messages that agents send out. And we also have built out AI-powered tooling for uploading descriptions and piping them out effectively as sort of like an easier process for updating MLS descriptions and actually creating new MLS descriptions for listings. We have built out a better automated process for that. So those are solutions that we do offer to brokerages. And so if there's any that are out there that are interested in chatting more about that, that's something we can definitely do.
Excellent. Roshan, you mentioned about building in public. How are you getting? So, could you explain what building in public is, and how are you getting ready feedback as you are building from the community?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that we do every week is we actually publish new features. Generally speaking, every Wednesday, that's actually when we launch all of our new features. And that's when we will actually get a lot of feedback from different people. Some people who will actually reach out directly to us. Some people actually fill out, as you can see here in the search engine, we do have a feedback form. And so some people will click that and just submit feedback to us. And then some people will also actually ask us for more information, may actually even also schedule a call with us. And those are typically people who are, part of like a brokerage and are actually interested in using a more sophisticated version of this tool. And so for those people, one of the things that we started offering were some of those additional services that I mentioned to you. So we've built out some pilot tooling with them, and we've been gathering feedback on that as well. So this is something that we have also been gathering feedback on from like other forums and other sites. But really, when it comes to building in public, it's just posting on different forums, posting on LinkedIn, Instagram, all these different sites, and just getting as much feedback from different groups as possible. So we work with a lot of different Facebook groups as well, and that's how we've been getting feedback.
And very soon on PropTech Buzz groups, because we are launching discussion boards. So you will also benefit from there. Excellent. Great. Is there anything else that you would like to share, Roshan, before we close this?
Yeah, I mean, as always, we're looking to always gather more feedback from the community on what we've been building so far. This is a community-led project. We are building it for the community, and we are looking to see how we can really solicit and access a lot of this information and make it more intrinsically valuable out there for everyone. So if there's specific features or specific types of search or ways that you would want to be able to search for properties going forward, we're always open to feedback and discussion on this. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My email is roshan@camphor.co. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm always happy to discuss with any of our users how we can make this product better.
Excellent. Roshan, Camphor looks brilliant. Thank you for your time, and all the best for Camphor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ravi.